DHL, and now with Porsche Consulting, talking about his perspectives on future delivery. And Amin, founder of Loxo, autonomous vehicles, maybe you remember, for parcel delivery. So that was really exciting. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We had roughly 600 participants online and on site, 100 people on site from 300 organizations in total from almost 30 countries. So again, proved that this is a really an industry platform that we've created here, and I'm really happy that we had these great discussions. Today again, give yourself a hand for this great group here on site, but also online. Please give yourself a hand. It's getting so many organizations and people joining that it's really hard to introduce all the new joiners and everyone. I just brought you some logos, parcel delivery companies, obviously, from DHL, UPS, DPD, GLS. They're all here. They're all joining remotely. That's really the cool, but also increasing number of postal companies. We'll come to this topic later. Slovenian Post, Serbian Post, new joiners, and this time we have bpost with us also as a new joiner. So really cool. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. A lot of startups joining us again from the delivery, whether it's parcel, food, grocery, or the wider mobility sector. We have the solution providers and tech platforms joining us. So that's awesome. And more and more retailers and brands. We see this constant increase of demand from shippers. Actually, they're interested of what's happening in their value chain in this last step to the consumer with the increasing importance of e-commerce. So this is really good to see, and very hard welcome to all of you guys. Yeah, we're glad to host you again today. For those who don't know BetterMile, we are a software as a service product suite, a growth company from Berlin, roughly 80 people. We are active in 13 countries, headquartered here in this space where we also meet today for those people who are on site. Our services are in address normalization and geocoding and address intelligence that comes with it. We call it better places, better route for driver navigation and sequence optimization, better tracking to provide the consignee and so the transparency, the engaging real-time experience, when does my parcel arrive, and the control, the mission control dashboard for the depots that we call back office. So far, the marketing part from BetterMile. But this is not the reason why we are here. We're here to establish a community, to contribute to an exchange in between companies of various sizes, especially with hands-on experiences and exciting insights in combination with technology. So there hasn't been a platform before. This is why we founded it, and I'm really excited that you're joining this canon. Today, a very big thank you to Connect to Post, Bernhard. You'll also be later on stage. We did this event together with you in partnership with our focus today, with our focus topic today on post and parcel. So this will be really exciting. And without you, we would not have managed to bring such exciting speakers and attendees together. And I know that's really a good group of people because there was already a workshop in the afternoon today. And I was lucky to be part of it, and it was really good conversation and exciting insights. So thanks, and please give Bernhard and Connect to Post a hand. Post and parcel. That will be the topic today. And it's a great focus. And the question will be, how can we bridge the gap between letters and parcels. And some of you guys might ask, why should we ever do this? Let post be post, let parcel be parcel. But it is a real challenge for postal operators to deal with the current situation. I think I'm not wrong if I'm saying this. 76% of postal operators name it the number one problem that the letter business is declining. Obviously, less letters are getting shipped, but the infrastructure stays the same. The business interests, of course, of the postal company stays the same, right? You see this in the numbers. This is just the decline of letters that you see. The red zone is during the pandemic. The blue one is after the pandemic, and that was before. And the same numbers for parcel that are obviously increasing, right? So it's no wonder that postal companies increasingly have to focus on also delivering parcels. And this is not just to utilize the existing infrastructure. This is also because the posties, the postmen and women are on the forefront. They are with most of the people in the countries every day, in different countries. They are almost a part of the family, let's say it like that. So it's also like a part of the obligation, right, of these postal companies to serve their customers, to serve their consignees, not only with letters, but also with parcels, right? But now let's come to the challenge. We conducted a survey recently in the United States. We'll publish the results soon, but that's just an excerpt together with Triangle Management Services. And this has nothing to do with post, and this has nothing to do with parcels. 4 out of 5 Americans have used rideshare or food delivery on-demand services. So almost everyone, right? And for them, 90% of them, it's highly important that they have transparency and flexibility in a great service with it. This is what they get used to every day when they order their pizza, when they order their groceries that get delivered. They have these apps where they can book time slots, where they can book additional services, where they can have impact onto the delivery, have full transparency when the delivery is coming, right? And this is the playing field that we are in. It's not about parcels, it's not about post. Those mobility companies define the expectations of the consignees, of the receivers. And the question is, are we as parcel and postal companies able to play in this field, to fulfill those expectations? Some other stats. 70% of consignees expect a modern real-time tracking, like where you see Uber-alike moving the delivery vehicle and see it coming closer. And it has to be available with every shipment. In 2023, it was 64%. Now we have 70% in 2024. It's getting toilet paper, a hygiene factor. You're not asking for it. You just expect it to be there. And when it's not there with toilet paper, you have a problem, right? And you're not satisfied. And you will not probably go to this toilet again, right? Sorry that I'm a little being drastic here, right? But it's the expectation. The expectation is also that they want to choose ad hoc for further delivery options and impact the handover. Also, this is an increasing factor. We'll talk later about out-of-home, so parcel shops and lockers. This is part of this flexibility, because sometimes I only find out an hour or 2 hours before delivery that I want to have another location to be delivered to, or maybe add a time frame or an express service to it, or a late delivery or evening delivery. So parcels, not offer for parcel companies a strong future potential, but especially for postal companies. But as parcel companies, also postal companies have to adjust to a rapidly changing consumer behavior. And this is not a low-hanging fruit, obviously. This will be our topic today. The format will be a little bit different than you've been used to from the previous meetups. We'll first have 20-minute panel discussions with really exciting participants about the topic of out-of-home delivery, so especially this flexibility options. We'll then have Christian Oestergaard from PostNord over to give us a keynote on a last mile perspective. And then we'll join another customer experience panel with a focal customer experience with another 20 minutes. And later followed for on-site participants for a networking event here on site. After every panel, we'll have room for questions, right? We'll reserve roughly 5 minutes to it. You guys here on site can ask questions, so please note it. We'll come to you. I'll have a microphone to pass around, but also you remote joiners out there, please drop us your questions in the chat field, wherever you follow us, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, wherever. We'll receive it here on this little tablet computer, and then we'll able to read it out to Christian and the panelists. Before we join head on for the first panel, just a little reminder: if you want to join the next meetup, please sign up to our newsletter. You will be notified about those upcoming events. There will be exciting things coming up, that's what I can promise. And please follow us on LinkedIn, especially for the release of those new studies that I mentioned, and you will be informed on time via those channels. All right. And here our first panelist, and I want to ask Bernhard up to the stage, take over from me and introduce us to the panelists. Thanks, Bernhard.
Perfect, thank you. So, hi everybody. I think we don't need that, right? Hi everybody. My name is Bernhard, Connect the Post. Simon already kind of introduced Connect the Post, but you don't know what it is, so let me very quickly state what it is. We are a platform actually of startups, postal parcel companies, other ecosystem partners with one objective: driving innovation in the postal and parcel industry. When I say driving innovation, we are really, we want to boost the collaboration between those entities with the objective to test new solutions, to test new technologies in the market, and to have them implemented in the parcel and postal industry. And as you said, the market has changed considerably over the last 20 years or so, with the letter volumes going down. Hey, crisis. But on the other hand, well, there's a big opportunity. Parcels go up. But the situation has changed again. Why? Because very simple. Everybody is suddenly entering the market. So it's not anymore some parcel companies and the postal companies that are doing the business. No, there are e-tailers around the world that try to enter this market, very new ones. And today, with many tools, like, for example, out-of-home delivery options, you can enter this market very, very easily. So you have to keep up to speed, and you have to implement those innovations. Having said that, who are my panelists here? Actually, we had already, just to mention it, because also Simon mentioned it, the whole afternoon we were sitting in this room here and over there because we had a workshop, because we wanted to dig very deep into all of these topics, exchange best practices, case studies, and whatsoever. And these experts here were with us. We have Tadas Beržonskas. He's Parcel Locker Network Manager from Lithuania Post. Please step up here. In Lithuania Post, he's also known as Parcel Locker God of Lithuania, by the way. We have then Andre Veskimeister, Parcel Locker Central, formerly also the CEO of Omniva. And we have Tadej Visinski, and he's from Direct for Me. Please step up here. One of those things that we have been discussing today was out of home and parcel lockers. Some of the challenges, opportunities, and what are the developments in there. And we all know parcel lockers, that's fantastic. You can pick up things. And then again, another feature that was developed some years ago is you can ship something through a parcel locker. But in addition to that, you can do many other things. You just have to be very creative. And actually, Lithuania Post has done a couple of things. Maybe, Tadas, you want to mention your very specific service that you have introduced just lately, and actually the growth volumes that you have already seen in it. And we are talking here about packaging at lockers. Please.
Thank you, Bernhard. Hello, everybody. Nice to be there. We done different things. We try to do, anything that could increase and to get better our client user experience. One of our latest projects was to help our first mile users to use lockers. I mean, Lithuania is a bit different to the rest of the Europe that we have a lot of first mile users, not just to collect parcels from the lockers, but to drop it as well. Mostly it's because of the Vinted or similar companies who allows people to sell stuff online, which I guess everybody does that, because sustainability, reusing stuff, and so on. So we wanted to help clients to avoid one of the headaches. From my personal experiences also, okay, I sell whatever, I got any item. The biggest thing is how to pack it, to find some box, bag, plastic, paper, whatever, And for that, we decided, okay, we'll take care of that for the clients. So there is an option at our parcel lockers in Lithuania to buy a package on site. Basically, I can create parcel online, I can come to the locker to do anything on site, and there is an integral part of our user flow to option choose to buy package or not. Client doesn't need to think, he just needs to check the screen and follow the instructions. Simple as that, I choose create parcel, do I need package or not? If I need, yes. If no, no. The price is really affordable, only 25 cents, so it's really competitive with the other packaging options and so on. And we started it last peak time, last Christmas, and we see that clients are really liking that. We have big plans to scale it up. Last but not least, important part is that this package is also reusable. So at least worst case scenario, you can use it for the 2 sendings, for the 2 parcels to send 2 times. Usually it will be at least 5 or 10, but worst case scenario at least 2. So it's also a big step because packaging is a problem when it's using only once.
Thank you very much. Very interesting service. I haven't seen it anywhere else so far, so I think you are a forerunner here in this respect. Now, parcel lockers, they come with several challenges, and you probably all know that. How do you find the right location? So there isn't an abundance of locations out there. I mean, there are locations, but it's kind of difficult with the communities to find it. And then you have all the infrastructure around it with which you have to operate it. So you have those challenges, but there are innovations and new technologies with which you can kind of respond to those challenges. Tadej, maybe you want to exploit a bit on that.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bernhard. As a matter of fact, yes, there's really the need for the lockers is just on the growth. We haven't seen any empty locker or any network that is actually decreasing. Most of them are challenged by how to scout and search for the new locations, which is the job by itself. And when you finally get a location, there's usually, especially speaking of traditional parcel lockers, all these challenges of how to get the permits, how to get the wiring, maybe even some construction work that needs to be done, which adds up to the cost and especially increases the time required to set up a new locker location. There have been autonomous locker in the market for quite a while now. Meaning they were compact units, mostly battery operated or maybe even solar powered, but they all had perhaps one disadvantage, which was not a real disadvantage, but was kind of an obstacle in a lot of heads of the decision makers. They were mobile phone operated, so actually the customer was required to use the mobile phone of any kind to open the locker. So Some required even to install the app, some even without. But still, even though it's fairly simple, it's maybe even more simple compared to other options. But it was kind of people were reluctant to go into it, apart from a few cases when they actually did it and proved it counterwise. Currently, what we are seeing is the next generation of autonomous lockers coming out. There are basically a lot of producers introducing still autonomous lockers, combining all the features that network operators were used in traditional lockers, meaning being connected, having the screen, having the ability to enter PIN, to scan QR code, and also maybe to add video surveillance, alarm systems, and the feature which is important in certain countries even more is the possibility to pay with credit card on site. So even featuring contactless POS terminals on the POS terminals. And what we are seeing right now is actually a lot of such devices coming out, and I believe this will speed up the growth of the networks substantially to cope with the need for the capacity for automated out-of-home deliveries.
I mean, ideal situation, every parcel postal delivery company is only implementing, completely rolling out parcel lockers, and you don't have to go to any door anymore. So the cost advantage would be enormous. So that is now a dream scenario. However, there also can be risks probably when you just rely on rolling out a parcel locker network. Which are the risks? Andre, do you have a view on that?
Before we go to the risk, I still would like to emphasize that lockers are the future, and this is by far the biggest growing delivery method right now available. There are risks, definitely. There are risks that you cannot explain to your potential customers the need and the usage of the lockers. You can fail with location scouting, because the location for the parcel locker business is the most critical thing. I could compare it with a traditional restaurant or bar or shop business, where you have to very carefully choose the location to serve the community in your radius. With wrong locations, you can make parcel locker delivery unsustainable. If you force clients to drive up to 5-10 kilometers or do different tricks in order to retrieve parcels, you will fail. You will lose all the advantages actually parcel lockers are providing. But in general, what I've seen now in all over the world, actually, there is no single failed parcel locker network yet. So all parcel locker networks are growing. So it means that customers are getting used to that, and this is going to be bigger part of our society. There's one more thing. Maybe we are talking here about parcel lockers and using term parcel lockers, but I think that this is going to be obsolete in some years. We're going to talk about lockers, because lockers are going to be everywhere. They are going to be in our workspaces. They are going to be near our home, near our shop, near our gym, and those are going to be interoperable in a sense that everybody can use whatever locker, whatever compartment to do whatever you like. So, and I'm living in a dream now that next Sunday morning I will have my croissant and the cappuccino in my slippers distance away, parcel lockers, and I don't need to drive anywhere far. So coming back to your questions, yes, there are risks, but the advantages are much more important and overcome those risks for sure.
Okay. Tadej, maybe back to you. How do you see the consumer behavior changing and adapting? I mean, you were talking about the growth of autonomous parcel lockers that are spreading. How do you see the consumer behavior in this context?
Oh yeah. What we have done, we have done a little research on a sample of 1,000 users, and trying to compare different types of user experience on traditional and phone-operated lockers, etc. But it was much broader than that. What we figured out actually is that by far the most important factor affecting people's adoption of the lockers is the location. So if the location is convenient, nearby, at my slipper's distance, so to say, or on my way driving to my daily routine, then I'm going to use it regardless of what kind of the locker it is. So I think it is important to really support the infrastructure that is being built right now, that it's really dense, close to where people live, work, operate, and that it doesn't cause additional time consumption or any additional effort or not even CO2 emissions when I'm dealing with parcels, either picking up, dropping off, whatever operation it is. It needs to be just there, just as we have other utilities. Like I know when I open the tap, the water is there. When I pick up my mail, I pick it from my mailbox. So it is treated the same. It is going to be treated the same way. The part of the infrastructure which is blended into the urban environment one way or another. So not standing out by different colors or so. So it really needs to fit into, and it needs to be close and convenient.
Andre, a question to you. Well, you were already looking kind of into croissants and whatever is coming up in the future in your parcel lockers close to your place. But now, sincerely, if you look 5 or 10 years ahead, and I mean, if you just look at the past, I don't know, months or so, the technology, the evolution that you can see in parcel lockers is developing so quickly. But if you would look, let's say, 5 or 10 years ahead, what would you think is the role that parcel lockers are going to play, and what kind of parcel lockers will kind of dominate the market?
First of all, I think that after 10 years we are not talking anymore about lockers, because this is a natural part of our everyday life, so that we don't talk now garages, because garages are, every house has a garage. The change that's going to be happening for sure is that lockers are going to be incorporated into the architecture. I see it in many places already. Architects are involved in designing buildings in mind that lockers are there, vital part of that thing. I think also that private buildings will be redesigned architecturally. Locker will be not anymore a metal box in front of your house, but most probably there's going to be a front door and second door, and in between there is going to be your personal locker. So I don't think that we are going to talk about lockers, especially in 10 years, because they are there. Now, I think that we need to imagine now what kind of services we can create on top of that infrastructure, because the value is not in the lockers, but in the business that can be done with that. And we have some great examples. You already mentioned here this Vinted and Vinted Go. We have had second-hand market for tens of years. Now came Vinted and make it cool. And now it's somehow it's uber cool in a sense that it's not cool, it's super cool. This is totally new thing. This is C2C market that needs delivery functions, and for that parcel lockers are the best ones. So I hope that there's going to be C2C croissant delivery company, so I can get my croissants on Sunday morning. But again, yes, right now the business is in the infrastructure. The companies who are producing the infrastructure are hot, but after some years, I think the new services will appear that will use it, the infrastructure, whether this is a rental service, whether this is a sales, whether this is a direct-to-market or direct-to-consumer farmers markets that besides my croissants, there are going to be my apples and potatoes from the nearby farmer. So I think that if we have a critical mass of infrastructure there, creative companies will create services on top of them.
But we'll need more and more of them.
Yes, for sure. Talking about the new segment that I see rising is a workspace lockers. These are not parcel lockers anymore. But one thing that changed after the pandemic was that, let's say, in general ways, we had a 9-to-5 working model before the pandemic. Pandemic changed everything. Now, sort of hybrid working model is a norm, and it means that you don't have your dedicated desk in the office anymore. It means that you have to store your stuff somewhere, and this is locker. And if you think how many additional services can be built up also on the office lockers, up to the point that also my parcels can be delivered to my office locker. So again, this is going to be part of the infrastructure, and next 10 years companies like Direct4Me and other infrastructure builders are in great demand.
Tadas, what are your expectations when you look 5 or 10 years ahead? I mean, you just started to roll out your locker system in the entire Baltics. You introduced just a few months ago packaging in the lockers. What are the next ideas? Or 5 to 10 years, how do you see that develop?
I mean, I'm really a big fan of parcel lockers. You know, I don't like home delivery. I definitely don't like PUDO, and I shouldn't say, but I don't like post offices either. You know, even though it's like my company's main things. But yeah, so I'm really happy now to hear Andre's vision, how he paints this big new things for the parcel lockers, because I believe that too. You know, it's really hard to say about some specifications, because what they presented, an autonomous locker with a battery-based solution, which really allows to install machines in principle everywhere. You know, because now we have physical limitations, electricity, payment, permits, whatever. You know, so that's really, I think, one of the changes. But it's happening now. In 5 or 10 years, you know. When technology is growing so fast, you know, hard to say. But there are some tendencies, you know, from our experience, we see that with each year it definitely becomes more and more to like find the suitable locations, you know. I mean, okay, in Berlin, didn't see it yet. In Lithuania, we have plenty of supermarkets with like five parcel lockers at the same wall. I mean, where else to expand? So the ability to share your network, you know, to open it to your competitor, to use white label solutions, I believe that is the future, you know. So not just, you know, to make some hardware expansion, but to be flexible at your backend from the software to connect different networks. For me, as a client, at the end of the day, I don't care at which color locker I will get parcel. I want to be as close as possible to my home. In my yard, the best, okay, maybe I can walk 50 meters, 100 meters, and that's it. So that's the case. Doesn't matter, Lithuanian Post, DPD, DHL, whoever it is. So the ability, you know, to connect the network, I think these you know, players will win, who will be, because you know, it only takes money to buy lockers, but to use them efficiently, that's the, you know, real art. So that is one of the future goals.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I don't know whether we have a question from someone. Over here is one, please.
Yeah, the question is towards Andre and Tadej. You talked about the risk factors and the cost and the infrastructure, right? Can you not partner up with banks and ATM networks, because they've already kind of cracked this? You know, putting up an ATM is a costly thing, and also the surveillance, all of this, they've already cracked it. Have you not explored this already?
No, let's say the locker industry is looking for the right business model or the fitting business model, and it's strange that even in Europe, every country is different, so there is no similar approach in countries. But what I see and believe is that right now carriers and some agnostic network operators are investing into the networks, but I feel that it's not far away when real estate investment funds will take over investments into the parcel locker networks, because this is much more feasible for their business model. If we are talking about carriers business plan is usually 3 to 5 years long, but parcel locker network is sort of 20, 30 years old or long business projects. So I see that this kind of investments are coming to the parcel locker industry.
Yeah, actually, what we are going to see probably is this investment funds taking over the infrastructure, because we have seen similar cases. For example, in telco networks, mobile operators nowadays usually do not own their infrastructure, their antennas, because it's too much of an investment for them. And there are companies buying that, operating that, and they are just having fixed fee. Or the shopping centers or similar. So it is an infrastructure, and it is a long term, which does not fit into carriers' models.
One more question. Oh, here we have two, yeah.
Maybe to Andre, in terms of your croissants, without a logistic provider in the middle, how do you prevent lockers from being misused by criminal activity?
This is very serious concern, and this is but this is not the concern only for this kind of business models. Also, the network operators has to prevent right now this kind of misuses. And again, we have personally seen living fishes from or found living fishes from the lockers and this kind of stuff. So this is a problem. I don't know whether the solution is automated VCR or video surveillance AI by detecting different kind of models. This is a problem we have to solve during that road.
There's Francesco over there, and then left beside.
Thank you, Simon. Hi everyone. I have a question about the second hand that, in my opinion, is the biggest and the most hidden industry in Europe, because our houses, our habits, we are full of old stuff, and we are full of company working on this. We know the names: Vinted, Le Bon Coin, Wallapop, etc. Do you think that this industry or those companies are going to lead a new generation of carriers, mostly based on local networks, in the next 5-10 years? Thank you.
Who wants to answer to that?
Francesco, I can answer shortly or long answer. How?
Short.
Yes, they are going to be future carriers, but the reason for that, just short reasoning also. The winners of the game are those one who own and has customers' data, and this is what Vinted has and has used very efficiently, and this is one challenge that carriers has to start also paying attention to.
Thank you. Simon, is there another question, or is there time or
Yes.
at all?
No, we have one remote question that I
There
would like
is
to
somebody
bring.
in the back here.
Let's take one remote
Okay,
question.
perfect.
Sorry. I have a question for Mr. Veskimeister. What if the demand for parcel locker delivery is bigger than expected at the beginning, and there's capacity issues with the lockers? Would the customer be forced to have a package delivered at another location, or a package would be delayed? And how do Parcel Locker Central plan to avoid problems like this? That's basically about capacity. And that's similar to the question that I would have asked, actually, because the beauty of home delivery is the flexibility, right? You don't have something standing there with a dedicated capacity. You can add a driver during peak, and in summer they take vacation, right? But what's your plan? How you gonna deal with these basically volatility of volumes?
Yes, you're absolutely right. The beauty of home delivery is infinity of capacity, but it's not still so. You have to have drivers to fulfill that. And yes, capacity is fixed with parcel lockers, and that's why the biggest innovation right now in software development is capacity management and demand planning. Because if you can predict demand, you can have preventive measures. You can have redirection, as you said. You can also, as Tadej has been showing us, adding compartments to the existing lockers is nowadays very easy. But this is the business know-how of operating parcel locker networks. This is you have to solve anyway, and I'm sure it's going to be resolved.
Mm-hmm. Maybe let me play a devil's advocate a little bit here. So speaking also about your companies, your experience, your networks, and talking about lockers, which utilization goal would you actually target? What are you calculating with? I'm not sure if you can disclose it, but it's just interesting how you would answer.
Well, yeah, we are working with various companies because we are a technology provider, and what we are seeing is that there's always lack of capacity, no matter how many lockers you add. Especially at peak times, it's really insane. But if you look a bit ahead, I think it will eventually come to the situation where public locations are occupied with especially good ones. So there will be a need for residential lockers. We are seeing that, for example, in Asia, especially China, where it's quite normal for a residential building to have either a parcel room or even a parcel locker. Right now, what we're seeing here in Europe is that there are carriers and network operators investing in lockers on public locations. So basically, if I have 3 lockers within my walking distance, why would I bother and invest in our own one? But that will definitely change with the growth of the volumes. Plus, of course, these can really be more nicely blended into the architecture. Perhaps, maybe in a wild dreams, it may also happen in the future that, as every household is right now, must have a letterbox. Maybe each household will be obliged to have a parcel box, because parcels are going to be as normal commodity as it is any other infrastructure right now, and that will make the life much easier. And there is almost infinite flexibility on the home delivery, but it's automated, and there's no issues of second and third attempts, etc.
Yeah. I have a question back there.
Yeah. With self-driving cars, can't I have a locker who's like a neighborhood locker who's driving to my door and don't plaster the whole city with lockers?
Mobile locker.
Absolutely, there are not only mobile lockers, but there are services like put the parcel in my car's trunk and this kind of stuff. So this is the future, definitely. Now we are seeing rise of the EVs and self-driving cars, particularly. Some of them are already equipped with the parcel compartments, and the thing is that although I'm talking for the parcel lockers, I'm absolutely sure that this is not going to be the only and main. It might be the main delivery channel, but there are still places for drone delivery, robotic delivery, home delivery. Every variety will be there. One thing that I would like to change is that customers would get the control over the delivery, that they can pinpoint exactly where and when they want to get the parcels, and they might get charged additional money for some kind of redirections. But customers need to get control over the delivery. This is my sort of dream.
Tadas, maybe is this something that you are considering in your strategic plans, mobile lockers as well?
That's definitely one of the directions which could be used in the future for us, especially to reach some areas to save some cost and so on. The question is just how we can adapt, because we need to adapt our processes to use it in the best and efficient way. But for sure.
Perfect. So thank you very much. I would like you to give a big hand to our three panelists here. And back to Simon, please.
Yeah, thanks everyone. I now want to introduce you someone very special. Please, Christian Oestergaard, come on stage. Christian is chief visionary or lead visionary and group strategist at Post Nord.
Yep.
I heard you speaking several times, and I'm really curious what you bring us today. You will talk about the last mile, about your last mile perspective, the Post Nord last mile perspective. Really excited. Please give Christian a hand.
I will say sometimes I have to admit these are my words. I don't think if I have a company standing behind me say to believe in all this what I'm saying. I think it's a fantastic bridge to the question before. I made a drawing. It's a little bit I'm a legend meeting the Post. And this is of course a little bit of a future. But I'm a lead visionary, and what does that mean? It means that I have to think a little bit ahead. And especially when it comes to a very operational business, which is the parcel business. And I'm mainly concentrating on the parcel business because in Denmark, where I am, we have hardly any letters left. Sweden, we are still working on it, but they are diminishing very fast when we come to the discussion about the bridge. But I'm trying to look into the technologies we have in front of us, maybe 3 to 5 plus years, and trying to see what kind of world is it we're going to have in 3 to 5 years. And one thing I think is very obvious right now compared to before is that technology moves much faster. And if I go back and ask, and I look in the Gartner survey, 1.5 years ago, the biggest problem we had in the future, asked CIOs, workforce. This year, when it comes to 24-25, workforce disappeared. It's down at something like 23% of the focus. Everything is AI. Does that solve the workforce? I'm not sure. It means we forget it, and suddenly we will wake up and figure out what we have to do about that workforce problem. Because if I look into statistics in Denmark of the youth, 83% is taking education towards a white-collar job, which means it's only 17%, which is actually going to help us solve the problem that we are working on, producing parcels at night, sorting with heavy goods, driving these vehicles. And maybe there is one of these autonomous vehicles. Let's see. There it was. And being a visionary gives you the freedom to think, but it also gives me an obligation to try to figure out, if I can look into the future, how can I backplan that? How can we start to use these technologies in the world that we are operating in order to make sure that the problems of the future is going to disappear? And we are a little bit of a two-man army in Post Nord working on these technologies. And it's difficult to get that focus when you're working in a very executional organization. Because what is it that we need to fix? We need to fix the problems of yesterday. We need to think about the peak. It's just around the corner. So yes, I believe these ones are going to come. And why? Because we are forcing the cars out of the city. We have tons of parking spaces. And these people, they're very rich, by the way. They're huge companies. If you look into parking space. It's a big, big business. They need to find something to use these spaces for. This is a perfect place to have these one. Drive out, and maybe you have 6 hours to empty your pack station, instead of having, and it will come again maybe in 12 hours. These can, I'm sure, these can be packed automatically as well. But this is the thing that we have to think about, is the human brain. And the human brain, I love there is an avocado there, by the way. But the human brain is the ones that talk about convenience. And what kind of convenience is it that we're going to have in the future? You know, I'm born in '62, so it's quite a long time ago, but my convenience has also changed all over. I have my favorite is actually not a parcel locker. I'm sorry, Andre. I have a Pudo Point just around the corner, 75 meters from me, who service all providers in Denmark. Which means that when I order stuff, I never know who's bringing it. I have no clue. Is it PostNord? Is it Bring? Is it DHL? Is it UPS? Who is it? I just push a button and buy, and I make sure that I get it to my locker, or to my Pudo shop. And I ask all my neighbors, because I'm, a little bit parcel-nick. Spent 38 years in the company. And I ask them, what do you think about this? Would you have a locker here? We can put a locker. I could probably arrange that with you, Klaus. And they say no, because they get the service that they want, because they have complete flexibility. And I think that this is a little bit about this. This is a convenience thought, because we all have an individual convenience, and we as an industry like to put things in a box, and that is quite challenging. So I think this brain is one of the things we need to work on. What is it that we have millenniums? What do they think? We have the Zs. What do they think? The alphas. I have no fucking clue. Sorry for my language, but these guys are born completely digital, So what are they thinking about the future? So think about that. This is where many of you are. Optimization, finding a formula for last mile. I had a presentation of Gita Krishnan, where he showed me this formula on how to calculate last mile. And I was happy it was not something I could solve very easy, because I thought I've spent quite some years trying to figure out. But there is enough in here for all of us to figure out how to optimize, because I think it is something that is very different from place to place. And in the future, we will also see that we can't just generalize. We will have to take area for area and look at demographics and look at what information we can get out of all the data that we are collecting in order to figure out which solution is the best. This is another thing. No matter how many people we are around the table, there's actually enough for us. If you look at last mile, is a huge chunk. And I love when I think about, I'm meeting you guys here, discussing about your optimization model, your locker model. Actually, there's space for all of us. Because there are companies here who are using the microphone on a phone to catch the data on, are we taking the stairs, are we taking the elevator, in order to figure out, more information about how the last mile is performing. You can take any little piece of the big puzzle, and there's still enough for all of us, which is good. But putting them together and finding the right combination, that's challenging. But I think it's quite mind-blowing that, working with Bernhard and with startups, and I really try to look at startups because I need inspiration for the future. They all find a place here. Maybe they're not all success, but one thing that, Andre, I was thinking about you. In 2004, I was fortunate enough to work in bpost, trying to re-engineer their whole logistic business. And I looked around for different services, and one of the services was in Paris. You could get delivered your oysters. And it's a little bit this, it was not a success, but it was a possibility. Everything we do is a question about timing. Being in this business for 38 years, I've seen the most, and I've seen most of it has been bad timing. But I think timing is coming to multiple things right now because everybody's hooked up. We can communicate with everybody, and that means that we can actually push timing. And if you ask somebody like Amazon, are they pushing timing? Yes, they do. They are just changing our behavior by giving us services. First, they probably put a lot of money into it, but they change behavior, and thereby they are changing the way that we want our goods. So, how will the future be? Of course, I'm guessing. But I think that the pillars that we have around us today and discussed quite a lot, I think they're still there. I still think that we have the home delivery. It is extremely convenient. And the home delivery is not just a home delivery anymore, it's actually a flexible home delivery. If you look into Denmark, what we've done is that we have 13 different places where you can have your things delivered home. In the dog shed, in the garage, or whatever. Which means that you don't need to be home when you're home delivery. And then you have the lockers. Yes, of course they're there, and I'm going to get back to that, but the lockers will still be there. I think it's a fantastic network. And then you have the PUDO points, or the postal outlets. I think they still will be there, because they're quite efficient. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is that some of these PUDO points, which are our providers for the last mile, they become so big that they actually become our competitors. And we see tendencies to this, where a PUDO provider actually starts to give possibilities to have parcels sent in between their shops. So it's something to just think about. But there is a dark horse, and it's called time. How do you want to have your services? How is that brain going to configure the things and the thoughts that we have? We don't know. But I think that these building stones will still be there. And I'm going to talk about some of the big problems, not how we optimize a route, because there's so many bright people doing that. But one of the big problems, we talked about it today, is actually loading the van. Because what is the issue? The issue is the van should be out driving. It shouldn't be 10% to 20% of its time being loaded. We need to figure out a solution for that. So come on, startups, help us. We need to do something here to improve this situation. One thing I think will happen is this. No, it's not true. But something like that. I think what we will see is that sorting the parcel in a terminal will be integrated with the last mile. And how do I mean that? I think that we will find a process where we pack the vehicles automatically and send them out. Because I think there is so much money in that at some point we have to move away from the infrastructure investment we've already done in the terminals and move into something where we interconnect the packing of the vehicle into routes and let them go out and do what they actually should do, deliver parcels. Another thing we have to figure out, this guy, he is probably a little bit younger than me, he looks much better, but we're gonna have fewer and fewer drivers. And we are extremely dependent on them. So we need to figure out how we're gonna solve that problem, because it's gonna be an equation which we have to solve. And so that is something that we have to really figure out, how can we help here? Because I know in Germany this is actually, we talk about a lot of thousands of drivers, and we're not talking about just for last mile, but also for the mid-mile that you actually need in the future. I believe that we will see till-operated vehicles. I heard that. And I believe we will see more of those. And I know that there's been one driving around in Berlin. I hope to see that one, but I saw the video at least. But I think that we will see something like this, that there will be one guy managing 10 vehicles. It doesn't solve our problem, does it? Because we can drive vehicles, but somebody needs to get the parcels out. I think it's something like this. We will have the vehicle drive out and meet a person. Because the future, he doesn't need to be a driver anymore. He just needs to be somebody that can help us to move something from a vehicle to the customer, to the put point, or to the pack load. So I think that we will see a combination of this in the future. I might be wrong, but I think it will solve a lot of our equation when we talk about how we're going to orchestrate the last mile. Congestion. This will be a topic. We already see it politically. Nobody wants cars in the city, especially the politicians. So we need to figure out something here. And this one, the wall of lockers, I think that we will see for quite some time, we will see a battle about position. Because it is a battle about position. And what does that mean? It means that if you're not there and have your locker, you're not having a part of the infrastructure that is needed to serve your customers. So this will be there, but it's going to be a huge problem because filling these lockers, we had a discussion today and say how efficient is a locker. It's not super efficient. And the reason is that most of the customers who already use a service from a put point, they are the ones switching to the lockers first. It's not the one who has the convenient service or have something delivered to the home. And that is a challenge when you come to the other equation which we had before with the driver or non-driver. We have a car and we have a person. That's quite a lot of cost. So we need to figure out that if he stands at a wall like this and try to find, as you know, I saw in Helsinki, I was in Helsinki Monday, they have a wall of 1,058 lockers, compartments in the locker. And running around there, packing that, it takes quite some time. This is my last slide. That means I believe in the future we will have modules that comes from the terminal sorted, going directly into a locker, which is a robo-locker. We have seen tries of the robotic lockers today, but the future will actually make it happen because we need to actually move into a more speedy, service-minded thing where you just add a module into a locker. You have a Coca or whatever robot inside that just takes it out of a bin, puts it on shelves, and you get your message that this one is to be picked up. This is my take. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christian. What an outlook, right?
Yeah. At least it gives us all work. Huh?
Yeah, and in the beginning you said, you try to look into 3 to 5 years in the future. I mean, what you did, from my perspective, is looking like 20 years, 30 years in the future as well. But I'm really curious here on site, are there questions? And also, I mean, you could say, are there any critics? I mean, there are other views. We are guessing, we are having indications, right? But there might be other views. Yes.
Hi, Christian. Thank you very much for the talk. I'm Gregor, founder of Packet Concierge here from Berlin. May I go back to your example in the beginning? You said you love your Pudo, you love, that's the convenience for you, that's the thing you like most. Can you go like a little deeper on what makes that place the convenient place for you? I have a very strong opinion. I'd love to discuss that later with you. But
I don't know if you have it like that, but when I order, let's say I'm not in... I'm sitting in Denmark and I order on Amazon, let's say that. Germany, always. Because Sweden is not that good and England disappeared, but I order there and I don't know who is going to deliver the parcel to me. I have no clue. And what happens, I order 2, 3. And if I get them with PostNord, I'm sure I know where I get them. Because I know the process, I know as soon as it hit the country, I know where it is. But Amazon is always shopping. They're trying to figure out, challenge us in PostNord. So they use different channels. And I don't know if it comes with DHL. Then I have to walk to a parcel locker because they don't have the home delivery maybe. So I have to go to a parcel locker which is maybe 1 kilometer from home. Then I get the next one, which is coming delivered with our competitors from Norway, comes with Bring, which is another place. Or then it comes with, so in the sense that what I want the things delivered to me, but I have to pick them up many places, and it's nothing I can control at all, because this is the shipper playing with the carriers in order to test them, figure out services and quality and stuff like that. So the convenience for me and my neighbors is that we have this nice guy, he's 2 times been in the newspaper locally for being the most popular shop in the area of Copenhagen where I live, because he serves everyone. And I think that is the convenience that we are looking for in our department, or our little apartment area. So I think that it's very much up to, you know, what your needs are. So that is the reason why he's very popular.
I fully agree with that. I think you put it into really nice words. I fully agree with that, and you put it into really nice words. But I think it's not just your convenience. Our data shows that this peace of mind, having that one place for all of your packages, is that second factor in the equation. Out of home gets adopted when you have distance, proximity, and you have universality. And I'm purposely saying universality, not like agnostic, like I can use different ones, but universality, because that's the moment where you have control in the sense that I no longer have to worry.
But I have so much control that saying, okay, fine, if I want a delivery where I want to buy the new iPhone 16, I want to make sure that I get it home. So you have still that flexibility on top of your convenience, which is that you actually can get the things where you want. I had a discussion with one American guy who was on holiday 3 months in Denmark, and he was saying to me, Christian, your service is shit. I can't get anything same day. I said, what do you need same day? Is it just because you Americans are bad planners? You know, what is it that I need same day that is so vital for me? So it's a question about, you know, also your mindset. So
We'll take one more question. Also, reminders to the remote joiners. Please use your chat fields, and we can also take remote questions. Yes, we have one over here.
Hi, Christian. Lochan here from a consulting company, Porsche Consulting. So we have a lot of retailers and brands that ask us, let's say, what can they do to enhance their e-commerce in the future, of course, because their CSAT, their NPS gets affected a lot because of carriers, and they don't have control over the carriers. I mean, they do as much as they can towards transparency, but where can they invest? Where can they contribute to this ecosystem with, let's say, carriers, with logistic providers to get a better solution for them as well?
I think it's the most important part is that they take and have a talk with their carriers about their expectations. I think I can't say anybody is better than others, because I think we all more or less do the right thing. But what I see many times is that we really don't talk about together. We have a sales contact, and that's fine. But when you talk about operation and what you actually really expect, I think that the operation has much better possibilities to have a fact-based discussion if we actually can serve each other. And I think there are so many things today with the data possibilities of AI and the way that we are operating, catching data and stuff like that, that I think we should be able to solve most of these problems. And I also see that, I have to say, I also see a lot of these retailers pushing the problems to us all the time. Honestly, if you look at sustainability, all of them are discussing about the last mile, and they made us all change our vehicles. Of course, also politicians helped on that, but they changed all our vehicles. But the thing is, much of their goods comes from China. Much of their goods come from long distance. And I always ask, why are we not focusing on mid-mile? Last mile is 16% of the carbon footprint. And this is the only thing we talk about. We never talk about the mid-mile. Mid-mile is around 52%. And nobody's interested in it. And this is, so you see that retailers are just talking about what they want to talk about. So I think that we have this mutual obligation also to look into.
All right, Christian, thanks very much for this insight. Thanks also for asking the questions. That was really insightful, great outlook. Please give Christian a hand. And I want to ask my fellow panelists now on stage. Christian from PostNord, already here. You can stay here with us. Nadja from Avery Dennison and Ira from MMD Smart. Please give them a hand. Customer experience, my favorite topic. Yeah, you could say customer demand. You could say customer delight. It is about fulfilling the expectations of our customers. But in my opinion, it's not only about fulfilling the expectations, but a little bit more. Do you remember maybe when you downloaded this app and you played this game or you joined the service or whatever, and you got this little response, this little heart, this little thing that you made you love, and made you fall in love with this product? I'm convinced that as delivery companies, we can do this too. So, and that's also like my little comment on customer expectations and customer experience. So I want to ask the question today and discuss with you guys, how can we drive the digital engagement, especially, because that's the key, right, to mitigate or to manage the customer expectations. And what are those customer expectations? How do you see it? How do you see it in your organizations? And I want to open with you, Ira. Maybe you can also explain a little bit to the audience what you do, what company are you working for, and how you actually can facilitate the customer experience with your services.
So thank you for the opportunity. We're a telecommunications company. We're actually we're not carriers, we're not lockers, that's not our business. Our business is to help companies engage with their customers. And you mentioned expectations in your opening. We heard a lot today about control. The people sitting in this room are modern consumers. They expect to have an interaction with their brands, with their companies. Their most favorite companies and brands that they deal with all the time are the ones that have the best two-way conversation with them. And one of the reasons why we're in this vertical now is because we understood that there's a lack of understanding about how to have a conversation with your customers and how that can exceed expectations. I use the word delight your customers all the time, because we don't want to just meet the expectations. We want to see that the company is thinking forward. The kiss. Christian mentioned the data, okay? Companies, Amazon's a great example. When I go on Amazon, it already knows what I purchased before. It's making suggestions what I should be purchasing without me even asking to tell me. It knows also what I've been looking for elsewhere. That's giving me what I need before I even know that I need it. We don't think that way. Delivery companies are not thinking, okay, we have this package. Christian has this great shop around the corner from him where he goes to pick up his packaging. But you know what? They're full capacity. What happens? What does PostNord do? I was speaking to Klaus before. I know what they do. Mm-hmm. They send it to the next place, which is not around the corner.
No, but it's good.
Now, this is wrong. If that's how you frustrate your customers.
So how do you contribute from MMD Smart?
We give customers in all different verticals. We give them a two-way platform where they can communicate with their customers all the time, whether it's via text messages, WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram. In China, it's WeChat. In Thailand, it's Line. It's RCS. It's iMessage. This is how all of us are communicating with companies and our friends. We give this platform so that you can have it two-way. So if I know that the package can't be delivered to a shop, I say, hey, Christian, we have a package for you, but that shop is full. Here are other options for you that you can choose from. Let Christian take control over how his package is going to be delivered. It's really easy to do. Everybody's doing it.
And Christian, you've been in this industry for so many years. You know that delivery companies hate flexibility, right? Because it creates, what does it create? Cost.
It's a cost problem.
So what's your perspective on this?
Money, it doesn't cost money.
I'm an end consumer. I fully understand the needs. And I'm a horrible one because I'm never home. I'm always out traveling. So I'm always challenging my own processes all the time. But I think I will say that we have the most used app in the Nordics We have, I think it's 80% of coverage, which means that we are actually using our app as one of the communicators. And just to give you an example, sometimes when I go down to the Pudo shop, and this is not sexist or anything, but I've seen girls go down and pick up the parcels. They had no clue about what they were picking up. They stand with their bikes and they had the kids behind them, and they suddenly have 3 packages, which are huge. This we actually tried to solve. So what we did was we took the data from our sorters and we actually projected it. So when you're picking up your parcel, you actually get a picture on how big the parcels are and the sizes and what they weigh. I think that we can do a lot of these things. I also truly believe we can actually communicate much better than we do.
But what would you actually do in this case? So you see the package is too big. The diapers, you ordered the 1,000 diaper pack and not the 100 diaper pack.
No, but what we do is that we say, okay, we deliver it where they wanted it, but we also show when you get the notification, you actually also get a picture on a person standing 175 meters tall, and then you have a trajectory of what size it is. So you actually can start to plan how you're going to pick it up.
But which flexibility options would you then do? I mean,
in this situation,
because I need the option to come with a car instead of a bike. It's one thing, but this is not really flexibility, you know.
No, but I'm talking about the service. The flexibility is in the service that if you can't do anything, you should help anyway. You know, this is probably also a factor. You know, your order. I don't know when I order on Amazon which day it comes. I have no clue. It comes from Italy, then I know it takes 4 or 5 days.
One day. We learned.
I know that, but you always need everything. I don't know why you're planning for money, but it's
same day delivery.
But the thing is that you have to do what you can do, and I think also we have opportunities to be better. We are now introducing things where you, of course, the thing with a delivering and picking up at the same place in the pack station. We are trying to do, as Andreas says, figure out how to handle the capacity, but capacity is a problem because now when we build the network, we have pushed out very small lockers everywhere to get the positioning. That is what we have done first. And that means that we will now have to consolidate, figure out where the most needed. When that comes, you actually have a more flexibility of the capacity. So I think that we will be better over time. But right now, we are not good at this. We can be much better, I'm sure of that.
Nadja, you work for Avery Dennison.
Exactly.
I'm exaggerating, but please forgive me. You're producing stickers?
Not only.
And glue?
Yeah.
Not only, I know. I'm exaggerating. But I'm curious, how are you contributing? I mean, it's a huge company, right? So you're doing various things, but how are you contributing to this transformation towards fulfill these expectations, flexibility, etc.? What is this little piece of the pie that you contribute to this play?
Good question. Yes, we indeed contribute to this pie, and especially if we are talking about visibility of the parcels and accuracy. Because as you said, of course, all the parcel carriers do a great job in delivering the parcels, but we still have a lot of misloads. Although the KPIs is 99 point something, it delivers a wrong parcel to the wrong place. And we are here to support with our technology to really reduce these numbers of misloads, and also to provide full visibility to the customers. Because of course we can communicate to the customers, but the question is, do we communicate the right and accurate data to them? Because as I said, I mean, even if we pack somewhere the parcel and we suppose that this parcel is in this particular roll cage, it goes all the way from one facility to another without any scans, and then it's finally in the van to get it to the customer, and we, thanks God, if it's in the same country, but it could be also a cross-border parcel. And then the customer, the driver is at the location, he's trying to find this parcel in the van, but somehow the parcel is not there. And we already communicated via the app that please reschedule and then deliver it to the locker or whatever, but there is nothing to deliver. And we, with our solution, we call it Smart Label, or one of the parcel carriers, they call it even Parcel with the Brain, we help to solve this particular issue.
So it is like this evolution is RFID, right? It's like exactly. RFID tags, and now they get to a price point where it's also for the parcel business like getting attractive.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Can I interject something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
She just described that anticipation. The Christmas presents are coming. We have anticipation. We ordered something. We've been waiting for the new Apple Watch to come. Okay?
Yeah.
Anticipation. My package is coming tomorrow. I'm waiting. And then they come and it's the wrong.
It's a wrong parcel.
Pardon my French, we've just created a pissed off, frustrated customer.
It's
Now-
the worst. I
Right.
mean, when you promise and then you don't deliver.
Now
it's
they're
the
not
worst.
going to blame PostNord. They're not going to blame DHL. They're going to blame Amazon or the retailer. They're going to blame the e-commerce store that they ordered that from, because that's who they complain to. And then the complaint comes to PostNord. So now you created this whole ecosystem of pissed off, frustrated, angry people. It's not good for today's modern day consumers who have this expectation to be delighted by the services they receive.
And the only thing you have to do is apply a smart label on your parcel, and then you have the whole visibility through the whole network where the parcel is. You have a capability to verify it without any human
My next
intervention.
Amazon order is a box of smart labels.
By the way, Amazon already
Well, it's
use those smart labels on their parcels, on some of their
I'll
parcels.
get one day delivery on that package too.
I know, you had it same day.
Oh, it's actually quite interesting. You know, I'm a digital guy. I'm like with Better Mal, we're producing like tracking solutions. It's a lot of AI, machine learning, etc. It's very sophisticated to create transparency. But in the end, it comes down to, is a delivery successful and undamaged, right?
I would say that
This is, I mean, if you get a broken parcel, it also sucks. So it needs to be undamaged and it needs to be a delivery success.
It's like you buy a puzzle at home, right? And you just did the 5,000 piece puzzle,
Yeah.
and there's one piece missing.
But now let's talk facts. So what is, for example, that you from M&D, like as services are contributing, is it like personalized communication to increase the delivery success, to get this 0.5%, 0.3% out? Because it is one parcel on a van, actually, so it sucks. So, or on two vans.
Well, from the courier service and the delivery service, we're improving first-time delivery, for sure, because now
Due to
I know.
notifications.
It's a notification. I was telling someone previously, my dental clinic, okay, I make an appointment, and they give me a choice to choose when I want. It's all done, by the way, by a text messaging. And when, actually via WhatsApp now, they moved to WhatsApp. And 2 days before I get a notification, are you coming to the appointment? And if I'm not going to go to the appointment, I let them know, because they don't want the dentist to sit there waiting for 15 minutes because he's not making money in those 15 minutes. There's no reason why we don't do the same time. First of all, we're saving time for the recipient of it. We're saving time for the driver. And then if something happened, okay, someone in the family's in the hospital, I won't be there for the delivery. If we're checking with them, they tell us we're not going to be there, then the whole system that we have about making sure that we have the right routing or making sure that we've optimized all of these things, goes back into the system in order to optimize again. And that way, the driver's not angry that he went to a place and the people's not there, and the people aren't angry that they weren't there when the package was delivered. We're just making a much better ecosystem, and it's saving money in the end because you're improving that first-time delivery. And we all know that that's a really, really big cost if we have to go back a second time. Doesn't make a difference when it is, that's bad.
It's two-way communication, right, with our consignees, or the delivery companies with the consignees, and it's not something that we're inventing, right? To be factful here, it has been out there for years and many years. When I delivered parcels in Hungary, in my onboarding, I got a hand scanner device and a phone, right? And they say, why do you need a phone? I have myself. And they say, no, wait for it. And the consignees started calling me. You know, they even have the number of their parcel guy and call them, and they would tell them, "Can you come in the afternoon? Can you come around this hour?" And in the end, I mean, this creates cost because they have to do detours, they have to do the extra tour, but they love doing it. You know why? Because they get this 500 forint of tips, 1,000 forint of tips. So they create like a kind of side business model for flexibility. Christian,
yeah, but I
PostNord, how do you also have a business model for flexibility?
Our business model is not taking flexibility into planning in that sense that we are generating more money in other places. No, but I think that we are absolutely right. We can be much better and we can increase the communication. But we also have some areas where we can We have some. I always try to work on getting connectivity in the data from when we get the parcels in. But I would like to get it before. You know, I would like to get notification from our shippers saying, with day certain EDIs, you know, that or APIs or whatever it is, day certain information about what we're going to produce. We are working now with a nesting process, which means that we know that it comes into a terminal. We know that these parcels go into a truck, because we know that which roller cage we put them into or which truck we put them into. Which means if something happens to that truck, we can be proactive. We can say that these ones are not making the connections. And this is something that we work with our customers with already today. And sometimes the customers already can do this on our behalf because they have monitored our processes and look into our scans. And I know some of our biggest customers do that. They actually look into it and can say that this parcel didn't get the scan in the connection that it should. They have monitored our processes, so we of course do it ourselves. What means that what they can do is that they contact the customer and say, okay, fine, we missed the connection. Is it okay we come tomorrow? Except in America, it's okay. Because most of the time it is so that it's not urgent what you order. So in that sense, we have this positive connection already in many, many cases. And I think it's just a question about being better to utilize the data that we have in the connectivity and try to be proactive. And the proactivity goes from our side to contact our shipper and say, we have these parcels. They unfortunately missed the cross-border cutting or whatever it was. So contact them and say that we unfortunately will not have them before tomorrow. I think we can do that. We can do this proactivity much better than we do today, but it's something that we already do.
Yeah, and by the way, the US Americans are used to the delivery like just on the porch, so they don't even have to be there in person, and then they get stolen. We had that in a meeting before. Really interesting. That's the US American way of flexibility, right? No offense, no offense. But
they have a video
look,
of it.
We talked about, to close up this round, we talked about two-way communication, we talked about flexibility, we talked about transparency as user expectations and customer experience. What's like this additional point where you say this is a gap that we have to close within the next couple of years? Nadja, from your perspective.
If I need to name just one, I would say reliability of data, because we use more and more this data and we would like to produce actionable insights. And as you know, shit in, shit out. So if we do not have reliable data in the very beginning, we will transmit this data all the way to the customer through whatever apps we use. Yeah.
What do you think, Christian?
I think it's capacity control. You know what happened also with the lockers? You know, in the beginning, we started with lockers 2008, so we were actually one of the first ones. Of course, in the beginning, we had this huge interest, and people ran to the locker and picked it up after 1 hour. You know, it was something like that. Then it became 6 hours. Then people ordered more parcels, and then they got lazy, so they actually use our locker also as a shelf, which means that it parks actually also parcels maybe for 2-3 days. And that means that our capacity planning of having the circulation on how many parcels we can rotate in a locker is actually quite challenging. So I think one of the things that we need to get closer to this one and need to find out, you know, how we can better capacity plan. And also one thing, we need also to use our data. I got a call from one of my friends and he says, I bought a canoe in Sweden. Okay, fine, congratulations about that. Yeah, and they wrote to me that I can pick it up in the parcel locker, so I'm looking forward to that one. And then he said, yeah, he called me back, said, now I got a message from PostNord saying that, you know, unfortunately the parcel locker was full, so, and he of course knew that that was a complete lie, you know, so in the sense is that, you know, we don't utilize all the information that we get, and I think we need to be much better.
Maybe he needs to find out he bought an inflatable canoe.
It was actually, I think it was a paddleboard instead, but he was laughing because he knew I got you now. Huh? So,
yeah, we have data, we have capacity. What's your major gap to close?
He stole my last one. That was capacity. That was data. When you talk to consumers, they expect that every touch point that they have with a brand that they work with will be seamless. They assume that if I call my cellular provider, I assume that on the screen when I call, they know my last time I spoke to them, they know how much I paid, they know what credit card they use. They expect the same thing with their e-commerce supplier, any of the brands that they talk with. Everybody in this room expects, okay, you know all this data about me. So when I talk to you, I shouldn't have to tell you again who I am, what I'm doing, etc. The same thing with shipping companies. It should be the same thing. You know this address. You know that these people are not home every day between 9 and 5, right? You know that, okay? So why do you schedule a delivery at 2 p.m.? You know it just creates frustration. I expect the brands that I work with to know everything about me and to use that data actionably to delight me and exceed my expectations. I'm going to go back to that point because we're not doing that in this industry.
Are you in sync?
Thanks. That was really insight. My point would be to add, and I'm coming back to the beginning of my intro, this little heart, this little kiss to add on top. You know, this is not what you can describe. That's not what you can put in money, but that is kind of this attachment to a brand. And as you guys say, it's not only the delivery company as a brand, especially the shipper as a brand. So this will be maybe one of the decisive points in the future. Thanks for this round. Any questions here from on-site? And maybe I can ask you, Armin, to pass around the microphone. Yeah, we have a question here.
Martin Pečar, OmniOpti. So my question to Christian. He knows that we are involved in route optimization and so on. But the question is, what is your biggest challenge right now? What solution would delight you the most if you could just wave a magic wand?
If we talk about optimization?
No, in general.
Ooh. Oh, that was a big one.
I mean, in general, regarding last mile.
Yeah, no. The thing is that the thing that worries me the most, I have to say, is actually in general our workforce in the future. That we actually can't deliver what we promise, and we still try to grow and grow and grow, and that's what everybody's doing. We are looking for the same people. And I think that if we don't get attention on using technology, if it's AI and data, or if it's robotics, or it's automation, I think that we will be run over by the ones who have taken that step. You know, DHL, we have Amazon, FedEx, and all that. They are investing heavily in these type of technologies. And I think if we National Post not are stepping into that, I think that we have a challenge in front of us. And this is worrying me a little bit, I have to say. And if we can solve that and say, okay, fine, we walk hand in hand with technology and still do what we want and still make sure that we keep the people that we need, we upskill them to do what they should do, and we know exactly where it is that we need the people in the future, and we can be nice to them, we can give them the best opportunities to work, I think we can do this together. But if we don't think about that and don't plan for that, I think we're in for a challenge. Because what you already see today is that you see that these big companies today, they are actually taking staff from each other. You know, when you say something builds a big plant and they build them next to each other all the time. What they do is they go in and match the salary with maybe 1-2 euro, and then overnight somebody just loses all their staff, because you know it all comes down to the money and the work, you know, work hours or whatever convenience you can have, and this is going to be an endless story. We have regulatory, which is actually also pushing quite hard on making, of course, better conditions for us as workers. But what happens is it increased the cost, because some of the flexibility that we were used to having is just being locked in. The same goes with sustainability, you know, forcing us to buy a new fleet. And if the teleoperated vehicles, if they had come with a new solution where we have to buy new vehicles, these electrical vehicles we just bought, all of us, they will last maybe between 8 and 10 years, and then we have to go to another type of solution. If it can't be built into the vehicles we have, we are now looking into a huge waste, which is probably very far away from being sustainable. So we need to really think about and make a plan on how we're going to attack the future. And if we do that, I'm happy.
Thanks, Christian. Any other question to the panelists?
Francesco from Shippy Pro Italy. I have a question again for Christian. What do you think about a model where the final recipients will be charged to use your parcel lockers or PUDOs as they are doing today as a shelf?
I think it's going to be a necessity in some form. I think that you can buy, just like Prime, you can buy a service. And then you can say that, okay, fine, that service, basic service is that you have a locker available maybe 12 hours from when you get a parcel into it. If you're not coming in the 12 hours, you can buy time and say, okay, maybe I need 12 hours more, or we take it back into the process and fill it up again, but it has a cost. And I think that we will see more of that. I think we have to help each other in order to make an equation which is sustainable for all of us. And the things that drive cost. And there's no way around it. And if you think it's not driving a cost, it's because you haven't understood. It's like you have free delivery. Yeah, who's been paying that? You know, because there is somebody who has to pay that free delivery. So I think we need to look into at some point. There's somebody who's going to open up the equation and find out. Okay, fine. There are some things we can't do for free. You see it already now in returns. If you look at I think there was an article 2 days ago about ASOS now putting a return fee of regular returners to, I think it was £4, something like that, because there are some people who are using the system and misusing the system. So I think we will see these things.
I agree with you because it's already happening in China.
Yeah, but it will come. It will come.
Thank you. It has to come, actually.
Yeah.
We'll take one more question here from the room.
Yeah, hi. It's me again, Martin. Today we learned a lot about customer experience, smart labels, future of delivery, and but when I think about, for example, Temu, which when I order it says like, oh, it will arrive somewhere this year,
Hopefully.
and like it's, as of my understanding, based in cost in terms of cost on contracts from the 1970s and postal contracts between like the countries. What do you think about them? Will they stay? What will happen on this front?
Who's jumping in?
Who are you asking?
Anyone.
I can say I think one thing they've done is brilliant. Temu, I'm not. I don't like that they are trying to get around all the sustainability issues and all the things that we have about with the quality of products and stuff like that. But we've seen other entering the market with a model where they start with like making an outlet, let's say that, and take outlet products and getting. What they are doing now is actually taking, the producer of the item and removing all the middle layers and getting it straight to you. And hopefully what they do is they channel some of that money directly back to the ones who are producing it. And what will happen? Yeah, but we don't know yet because their model has to, the models have to survive in the long run. So what they do is, if they do that, they will develop. These guys out in China, they've just been pushed on cost, which means that their products are getting worse and worse. But if they are pushed on that they can get to another market with another way with a quality product, I think that will move that way. And it cuts away a lot of middlemen. So I think it's one to watch. It's really one to watch. Because if they manage to get real products with real value, which is CE marked or whatever happens on the way, if they get those into that channel, it is really something that's going to revolutionize us. That is what I believe, and this is what I think that they have on long-term plan, because the other thing is too short-term.
The outlook is the outlook. We don't know. There's a bet for the future, and I hope it's sustainable, and I hope it's people-friendly, and it's also on our shoulders to take care of it as this community. This battle for price and operations cannot last on people who you are not properly employed or not properly paid. This can also not be on the cost of our environment, and this is something that's also in our hands and where we can use technology to make a difference. Actually, I want to thank you, Nadja, Christian, Ira. That one was a blast. Thanks very much, and please give the panelists a thank you. I'm closing this round. I'm closing also the meetup for today. This was Last Mile Delivery Meetup hosted by Better Mile number 7. Thanks for joining. I want to remind you at that point in time, sign up to our newsletter to stay informed about latest developments and latest events, and follow us on LinkedIn about our interesting content. Thanks again for everyone joining here on site. Thanks again for hundreds of people joining remotely. If you haven't been able to watch the full and joined late, there will be a recording also published on YouTube. You will also be informed with our newsletter and on LinkedIn about this. Thanks very much. Thanks for the panelists. Thanks to PostConnect and Bernhard. And have a great evening.